fans! I'm Pat Mayo, Week 4 waiver wire pickups, the quick version plus QB streams and defense streams, along with the full NFL injury report. You can get all this information in the description in the link to my newsletter, completely free. It's the cheat sheet for all the stuff, also where I update all of the injuries, the pickups, should any new information come out. And I'll be back Monday afternoon with Jake Seeley on Mayo Media Network, so please like this video and subscribe to both this and the PME audio feed for a long-form version of the NFL Power Rankings plus a team-by-team fantasy recap. If you're missing Jake, that's where Jake is on Monday afternoon, so I'll see you then. But here's the information that you missed or you need to know moving forward. Running backs, Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce both did not play for the Houston Texans. Cam Akers got all the run. He fell into the end zone, so he was okay at fantasy. Other than that, he looked terrible. So hopefully Joe Mixon can get himself back this week, or at least Dameon Pierce. Maybe there's a chance, although it's probably not Pierce. D'Amico Ryans hates Dameon Pierce. That coaching staff hates Dameon Pierce. So it'll probably be Cam Akers still. Let's just pray Joe Mixon can get back for week number 4. Kenneth Walker did not play with an oblique injury, his second straight missed game. Charbonnet got all the run. Kenneth Walker is expected to return on Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Raheem Mostert did miss the game as well. It was all A-chain all the time, even with Jeff Wilson returning against the Seahawks. Not sure about his status. I'd lean more towards playing than not playing in week number 4, as he was a limited practice participant all in week 3 and still did not go. That should get upgraded to full this time around. But both those guys play on Monday Night Football, so beware, we might not get that information until Saturday and not Friday. The last one, Pierre Strong, did not play for the Cleveland Browns. We did see an awful lot of run for Jerome Ford over Donta Foreman in that split, but they played this entire game from behind outside like the first 30 seconds of the game, rather than a week ago against Jacksonville when they played from way ahead and Foreman got most of the run, or the majority of the run, over Ford. It was over an 80% snap share for Ford. All those snap shares are down in the description right now in that newsletter link. That's where all the info is. That's where all the updates come from, all right? So go sub to that for free down there right now. The pickups that you want, Bucky Irving is number 1. He just looks the best of all of these backups and guys that are currently available. His role, you needed to expand before you can go actually play him in fantasy, but he's going to steal this job from Rachaad White in the next month. He just looks so much better. Maybe it's because White's dealing with this groin injury. It's leaving him limited just a little bit, but Irving looks amazing, and he's going to start out carrying Rachaad White on the ground. Eventually, he's going to start getting all these goal line touches if he could ever integrate himself into the passing game, which he probably wouldn't. White's an excellent receiver, but either way, he's available right now. He looks good, and it's that division, so you probably should just play guys against it. Bucky Irving, number 1. Braylon Allen, Ty Chandler, Rico Dowdle, and Emmanuel Wilson come in as the top 5 running back pickups. It's mostly all running backs this week. There was no big opportunity opened up. Cam Akers might still be out there in any non-competitive league. Maybe go grab him just in case Mixon and Pierce miss week number 4 again, and you have a guy who's going to get all the touches. Other than that, like Kareem Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Keontae Ingram can all insert themselves into this Chiefs backfield. We saw Steele. He was the play. He had all the short yardage work. He had all the goal line work. He just didn't find the end zone. Therefore, he was pretty useless in fantasy. Pirine, I actually think will hold the most value because he'll just end up being the receiving back the entire time. When these other guys get into the mix, Steele just might not be any good, and that's going to be a problem for you. Underdog picks for Monday Night Football. I got a 3-banger for you. And there's a profit boost that you can use up to 20%. So you can turn that 6-1 into 7.5-1 if you want to. I'll throw the link to my entry down in the description. Hit the winner on Sunday and was one. We were 5 Jordan Whittington yards away from having a gigantic day. So we're getting closer. Hopefully on Monday Night Football, we can figure that out. I got Jaden Daniels higher than 50.5 rushing yards. You get a big deposit bonus by using code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy right now, by the way, in order to get yourself in on some of this action. T. Higgins, he's going to be back higher than 45.5 yards. They're going to use him. James Cook against the Jags for the Bills, higher than 82.5 receiving plus rushing yards. He's been amazing through 2 weeks. Hopefully with that extra rest, keep it going against the Jags. Those 3, I'll hit their overs, and we got a stew cooking here. $10 pay 75 on that one if you want to use code Mayo and go sign up to Underdog Fantasy right now. Wide receiver injuries for week number 4. T. Higgins is expected to play on Monday Night Football against the Commanders, his first game of the season. For our underdog entry, I hope that he does end up playing. I guess it would be nullified if that was the case. I like T. Higgins on Monday Night Football. Devonta Smith left the game with a concussion. Britton Covey left the game with a shoulder injury, and A.J. Brown did not play. It is drying up at receiver for the Eagles. Johnny Wilson, the rookie, got some more extra run in this game. He is probably the lead receiver going into week 4 outside of Dallas Goedert for the Philadelphia Eagles. Justin Jefferson is expected to be okay with his finger injury. Ditto for Tank Dell in his hand is also expected to be okay and play in week number 4. Adam Thielen might not play in week number 4 with a hamstring injury that he sustained on his touchdown catch against the Raiders. So I would put him at iffy at best for week number 4. Xavier Legette would be the one who would run in his spot, who did look pretty good. Although by the time he had to start doing things, Carolina didn't have to throw much anymore. Darius Slayton hurt his thumb. He played the second most snaps and ran the second most routes after Malik Neighbors on Sunday against the Browns. They play on Thursday Night Football. So it's a quick turnaround. Keep an eye on that. Could be more for Jalen Hyatt in that game if Slayton does not go. Josh Palmer, Jordan Addison, Keenan Allen all did not play. Could return in week number 3, all 3 of them. Then you have Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown, both iffy for week number 4. I'd say A.J. Brown has a better chance of playing than Deebo Samuel. For the pickups at wide receiver for week number 4, Darnell Mooney with a bullet number 1. He's not an injury fill-in guy. He's just a guy who plays all of the time. He might not be good or consistent every single week, but he also might be the best receiver Atlanta has in terms of fantasy purposes. So Darnell Mooney is the pickup that you want. Juwan Jennings is number 2 right now, assuming that Deebo remains out. The moment that Deebo doesn't remain out, you probably don't want to play Juwan Jennings anymore. Rome Odunze at number 3. Those are the big 3 pickups of the week if available. If you wanted to have a more long-term approach to it, Rome Odunze would be the play over Juwan Jennings, but I like Darnell Mooney better than him right now. After that, I go Noah Brown, Tutu Atwell, and Michael Wilson. Those 3 I think could be deeper, longer-term pickups. I mean, Wilson you can kind of play if you're in a pinch, but Tutu Atwell, Cup, and Nakua are both out, is the favorite of Matthew Stafford. They use him on short routes, they use him on deep routes. He's not always out there, and every time he gets hit, it looks like he's dead and he has to leave the game, but he always seems to come back in. So Tutu Atwell will be my guy for the Rams moving forward. And then for deeper leagues, with Allen Robinson hurting his eye, Calvin Austin looks pretty good in that Steelers offense as the quick guy that Fields likes to have little dump-offs, and he can do the rest. You have Trey Tucker for the Raiders, another deep shot guy. Johnny Wilson for the Eagles would be my preferred pickup from the Eagles. And then you have like Tim Patrick, Juju Smith-Schuster. And from Yale, Mason Tipton is playing more than A.T. Perry. If you play in a Saints-only league, Tipton is the play over Perry. Tight end injuries. Evan Ingram not expected to play on Monday Night Football. So Strange, the stranger. Don't sit on your hand, all right, stranger. You want to be able to catch those passes, not drop them. He should be playing on Monday Night Football. Sam Laporta rolled his ankle. It might be a low ankle sprain. He was carted off the field, but did return for 3 snaps, then left the game again. I think he might end up going. If not, Brock Wright is clearly the pickup. Trey McBride sustained a concussion. That's bad news. He might not play in week number 4. Kittle obviously didn't go. I wouldn't expect him to go next week either. Taysom Hill probably going to return for week 4 with his chest injury. Davis Allen didn't play. No one cares. David Njoku didn't play again. It might be one more week. It might be week number 5 for David Njoku, but do you really want David Njoku on the Browns? Probably not if Deshaun Watson is the quarterback, which at this point, he is. Guys that you can pick up to be better than these guys. Cole Kmet, number 1, the best of man Kmet. If it's going to be Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet, that's like the Bears' entire passing offense. The only guys who can actually catch passes that aren't Hail Marys that don't go for touchdowns from Caleb Williams. Tower Conklin, number 2. Kmet, Conklin, Brock Wright, if Laporta is out. After that, in deeper leagues, Noah Fant, Johnny Munt is where you're looking. Probably don't want those guys. Kmet, Conklin, and Brock Wright. Quarterback injuries for week number 4. Herbert left the game. He went in the game with a high ankle sprain. He left the game with a worse high ankle sprain. He couldn't plant off the foot. Although I bet you he plays in week number 4 because it's Justin Herbert. Then he'll leave halfway through the game. Then Taylor Heineke will come back in again. Sam Darnold hurt his knee. He's expected to be fine against Green Bay this week. Love did not play. Seemed like he was getting closer. I still don't think that he goes in week number 4. He might go, but again, I wouldn't start him in his first game back, especially against his blitz-happy, opportunistic Brian Flores defense. It's going to confuse Malik Willis, but at 2-1, I know they don't want to give up the division game against Minnesota, or at least put themselves in a worse chance to win, but Malik Willis might be better than a 60% Jordan Love right now. If you're Green Bay, you need to look out for the long term. Love is the answer to this season if you want to contend for a Super Bowl. Bring him back too early for a week 4 game is stupid. Get the guy healthy so he can be at full capacity and not re-injure himself. We'll see if he plays or not. Skylar Thompson, who knows? You don't want to play him anyway. Tim Boyle might start for the Miami Dolphins. It might be Tyler Huntley. I'd prefer Tyler Huntley for the receiving options, but we'll see. It's just terrible right now. Streamers for the week: Geno at Detroit, Fields at Indy, Daniel Jones at home against Dallas, who cannot stop the run, by the way. So good news for Daniel Jones, who's probably going to run a ton. Those will be the top 3. After that, Darnold at Green Bay, Dalton at home against Cincinnati in a revenge game, and then Deshaun Watson at Las Vegas. You're getting into too deep of a league at that point if you're playing Deshaun Watson in a 1-quarterback league. Streaming D's for the week, which you can always find in the newsletter down in the description. The link is there, or sub to it for free. Chicago, number 1, at home against the Rams. Vegas at home against Cleveland, number 2. Tennessee at Miami. New Orleans at Atlanta. And then Minnesota at Green Bay. Like I said, blitz-happy Brian Flores. They've been opportunistic, a.k.a. good fantasy defense. Probably a better fantasy defense than real-life defense, honestly, in better matchups like this. Even against teams with good offenses where you're so opportunistic, those pick sixes are always in play. And with the blitz, sack, strip, fumble, you get those 7-point plays or 8-point plays if it's a touchdown, and you're off to the races. Deeper leagues, Arizona, Miami, and the Rams would be on my list, but those are for deep leagues only. Okay, I'll be back with Jake Seeley on Monday afternoon for the NFL Power Rankings and the team-by-team fantasy notes. If you miss Seeley, well, you can find them on the Pat Mayo Experience feed and on Mayo Media Network on Monday afternoons. So smash a like, sub to the channel, and hit up the newsletter for all of the pickups. Okay, I'm Pat Mayo. See you then.
Mayo Experience! Experience!